Welcome viewer to another episode of 5 Live with me, Shiv Aroor. India's biggest iPhone factory will be up and running and churning out made in India iPhones in less than a year from now. But like everything else in this country, Karnataka has won, but the politics is exploding. The election is over, but ill-tempered, juvenile credit war politics has broken out over who is responsible for this amazing win for Indian business. Thanks for watching. I'm Shiv. These are the headlines. Details of FIR against Federation boss Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh accessed first and reported first by India Today. BJP MP accused of demanding sexual favors from wrestlers and athletes. BJP issues a gag order on him. The pressure is building. India's 1983 winning squad issues a statement on the wrestler protest, urges athletes not to immerse their medals, advice against acting in haste. Big move by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in Karnataka. All 5 freebies promised by the Congress to be implemented in this financial year. BJP lashes out at Rahul Gandhi over Muslim League remark. After Rahul calls Muslim League a secular party, BJP asks, how can Jinnah's party, responsible for partition, be secular? Delhi liquor scam accused Manish Sisodia permitted to visit his wife at home from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. Court asks for her medical records. Manish's wife suffers from multiple sclerosis. $300 acres, 13,600 crore rupees, and Taiwanese giant Foxconn is all set to build a big iPhone manufacturing facility on the outskirts of Bengaluru. It's all set to be India's largest, and the announcement came yesterday, barely a fortnight after the Congress's big election victory. But as you can expect, with the Congress government announcing this big win, the BJP is extremely upset, because they're the ones in their previous government that had landed this deal and even announced it a few months ago before the election. And therefore, an ugly, ill-tempered credit war has now broken out, even as Karnataka gets set to celebrate a huge milestone for Indian business.
Big boost to India's vision of emerging as a manufacturing powerhouse. Taiwanese giant Foxconn will start manufacturing iPhones in Bengaluru by 2024. While Foxconn's expansion is undoubtedly advantage to India, an embarrassing fight for credit has erupted in Karnataka. The Siddaramaiah government is trumpeting Foxconn investment, calling it a huge boost for Karnataka.
BJP is not aware of the origins of manufacturing of iPhones in India. Probably they should look into their own government orders, and they should then they will realize that the seeds of it was sown when I was the IT/BT minister, when Wistron came and started their first manufacturing plant here in Karnataka. Either ways, if they really want to take credit, they can. Ultimately, Karnataka's win.
See, this is like when the Mars orbiter was put in space. The Prime Minister was not even the Prime Minister for a few days. And we saw how he took credit for the when he himself, instead of giving the credit to the scientists, he himself went to Sri Harikota. So, government is always in continuum. We have to do good work. That is what is important.
The Karnataka BJP and its leaders has hit back, claiming it was Basavaraj Bommai's win.
What they have not done, how can they claim credit? It's all been done by our government, and that time they were making a mockery, they were making all kind of statements, and they criticized us. So that is what is indicating now itself. In future, next 5 years, we are not going to do anything. Now we will try to gain credit for what has been done by the previous government.
On March 3rd, then Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai had met the Foxconn chairman. He too announced that an agreement had been signed with the iPhone maker.
They had shown interest. They had been visiting so many times. Then ultimately they saw the land, their chairman came, saw the land. And then they wanted some policy change, we brought in. They saw our policies, they accepted it. And they had their own survey as far as high-tech human manpower and all. And we signed a LOI.
The 13,600 crore rupees Foxconn project is expected to create 50,000 jobs. Foxconn's expansion in India will increase India's participation in the global electronics market and give a push to the Prime Minister's flagship Atmanirbhar Bharat mission in the cutting-edge sector. While iPhone production tripled in India last year, it still accounts for only 7% of Apple's total iPhone output. Bureau Report, India Today.
So a timeline of what the Congress said earlier before it won the election and what it has said yesterday is a contrast in the kind of childish politics that is playing out despite such a handsome electoral victory. Earlier, the Congress had said Bombay is misleading Karnataka as far as the Foxconn facility is concerned. Now they're saying the Foxconn plant is a big boost to Karnataka. Earlier, the Congress had said Bombay is jeopardizing prestigious investment. Now they say the Foxconn plant is not a BJP victory, even though it was announced way back in March. Earlier, the Congress, before the election, was saying Foxconn agreement is an exercise in fakery. This is what Shiv Aroor said. Now he says it's Kannadigas who are winning, not the BJP. Earlier, the Congress had said Bombay must apologize for making these fake claims and lying to the people of Karnataka. Now the Congress said the seeds of the project were sown under previous Congress governments. Earlier, the boost that this brings to Bengaluru, to Karnataka, to the southern part of India, to the entire tech manufacturing ecosystem of the country is immeasurable, viewer, because at 13,600 crore, 50,000 jobs in 5 years, this is going to be one of the biggest milestones as far as manufacturing in India is concerned in this sector. It's going to attract other frontline global electronics companies. It will ramp up youth skill sets and talent. It builds up Karnataka as the beautiful, predictable, friendly investment destination that it has always been. And it's one of the reasons why Karnataka and Bengaluru in particular is called an IT hub and the Silicon Valley of India. So first of all, I'd like to start this entire discussion today by congratulating the people of Karnataka, congratulating the administration, congratulating several different governments, even though there is a credit war going on right now for this Foxconn decision to build India's biggest iPhone factory in Bengaluru. It is an affirmation of Karnataka as one of India's most investment-friendly states. It is something that is borne out year after year in ease of doing business studies and surveys. And this once again puts Karnataka somewhere right at the top. Now let's get into the politics of it, because an election is over, but the credit war that exploded yesterday was really a textbook example of how petty, childish and silly things can get despite the big picture staring all of us in the face. 13,600 crore rupee facility, 50,000 jobs, but still a social media war for credit has broken out between the Congress and the BJP. Joining me live, Mohan Vishwa of the BJP, Dhruv Jatti of the Congress party. Welcome to both of you. Thank you very much for being with me. First of all, congratulations to the both of you and to all of the people of Karnataka. It's a big win. I'm from Karnataka. Feeling of pride that our state, Mohan and Dhruv, has, earned the right to build this factory. So I think that's one thing we can all agree on. But I want to focus for just a moment, having informed our viewers about the amazingness of this deal, how it's going to benefit everybody across the board, across political parties. It's not going to discriminate. The politics of it, in my view, was distasteful and in some ways could be dangerous in the long run as well. Dhruv, in March this year, when the Bombay government, specifically the Chief Minister, had announced the MOU that has basically fructified in the deal that was announced yesterday, D.K. Shiv Aroor, who was then in the opposition, now the Deputy Chief Minister, had called it a fake claim. He had explicitly said, even on India Today, that this was a barefaced lie and that the people of Karnataka are being misled. Is he going to take his words back?
Shiv, there's an interesting timeline that I think we need to keep in mind. Firstly, to clearly air out you know what an MOU is, and most people watching the show also know what an MOU is. It's just a joint outline agreement. It's not a deal. The deal did not materialize under the Bombay government. And what the Bharatiya Janata Party went on to claim then
The deal,
was that
the deal materialized in April, Dhruv. I have the papers in front of me. The deal
No, Shiv, the deal
materialized
did
in
not
April.
materialize. There was only an MOU that went through.
MOU was
And
in
there's an
March. The deal
interesting-
materialized in April with 30%, the 30% of of the transaction taking place in April before the elections.
Shiv, there's an interesting interview of one of your anchors, Rahul, as well, who went and spoke to Bombay in the month of March. And the deal did not materialize. It materialized 2 days ago under the Congress party. Now, I will tell you why Mr. D.K. Shivkumar said that. That's because
That
you
is
must
patently
also know
false,
that
Dhruv. That's patently false. It's not an opinion that I'm giving you. I'm looking at the information in front of me. The deal fructified in April. It was announced yesterday because all of because there was a transition of government, there needed some time needed to be taken for the paperwork to be completed. But the basic deal was in place in April before the election. I don't want to get into these details, but it is because leaders like D.K. Shivakumar, illustrious, respected leaders, had basically called it a barefaced lie that I'm asking this question.
Shiv, it was a premature announcement from the Bharatiya Janata Party that went on to
Clearly
state
not.
that the deal went through.
Clearly
The deal
not
did
premature if
go
it's
through.
done.
No, Shiv, it was not done in April. It was announced 2 days ago. And that was just an LOI, an intention
Dhruv,
that
come
was
on.
come
I mean,
through by-
Dhruv, you
by
know
the
that these
Foxconn.
deals don't happen in 2 days. They certainly don't happen in a fortnight. Foxconn is going to invest 13,600 crores. Are you telling me that, that Foxconn and the Congress, this new government, negotiated this entire deal in 8 days? Come on. I mean, we're all adults here.
Shiv, we recognize the fact that talks took place. That's a fact that none of us can dispute. Talks took place between Foxconn and with the outgoing government and with the former chief minister, but the deal only materialized yesterday. And that's a matter of fact. And let me tell you, 40% of the deals that happened under the global investors meet did not even materialize. And that was with the past government. Now, that shows the track record of the Bharatiya Janata Party that has failed to bring investment into Karnataka. Now, are we going to ignore that fact as well?
This
and
is
Mr. D.K. Shivkumar
pettiness.
has every single right when he speaks about the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party has been playing with the people of
Dhruv,
Karnataka
yeah, I'll
in
just
terms
come to
of
you. I'll
talking
just
about
come to you, Mohan.
premature deals.
This, I don't know. To me, to someone who doesn't take sides as far as politics is concerned, this just doesn't sit right. This is distasteful as far as I am concerned, because at the end of the day, it is good for both sides to be celebrating this, but for someone to be grabbing credit directly for senior leaders of the Congress party to be crediting Rahul Gandhi's employment strategy as being responsible for this Foxconn win is embarrassing. Dhruv, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Something like this cannot get negotiated in a couple of days. You're dismissing an MOU, but that is the very MOU on which this deal has finally been announced today. I have the papers in front of me. April 19th is when all of the transactions happened. The deal was tied up by April the 19th.
Shiv, there's no MOU that anybody is discrediting. I told you we recognize the fact that talks and discussions took place. And you will also you also just played Priyank Khargeji's statement, and he says that if the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to take credit, they're more than free to do it. But people of Karnataka know that the deal materialized yesterday, and that's the stance that I'm going to stick to, simply because that the Bharatiya Janata Party failed to bring in even 40% under the global investors meet. And that's the confidence that these,
That's different.
what I would say,
That-
MNCs
I'm talking about
and
this.
you cannot dispute that as well, because that's a fact.
I am talking specifically about Foxconn right now, about the worries of investment in Bengaluru and Karnataka is a separate issue, which we have debated separately as well, right here on this show, as a matter of fact. Mohan, bringing you in, the BJP has reacted quite vociferously, and I understand the kind of anger and irritation with which the BJP has reacted, given that the Congress is taking full credit for this.
See, Shiv, let me tell you one thing. The people should have basic common sense. The election results were out on May 13. For the first 7 days, Congress were fighting for the CM's post. You would have also seen where DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah used to go to Delhi and come back. Post that, one more week, went for, allocation of portfolios. It's hardly 1 or 2 days now. How can somebody clinch a deal worth of 13,700 crores in 24 hours? Come on. People have understood. Like, as you said, it was clinched in the month of April itself. In the month of March, the CEO has visited Bangalore and he has seen the land, and they have purchased more than 300 acres of land over here. The same has been reported in London Stock Exchange also. So that's the kind of thing which we are telling over here.
Dhruv, the scale of the Congress's victory has been so decisive, so aggressive. It has been such a creditable, admirable and impressive victory. That a lot of people watching, would wonder why the Congress needs to indulge in this kind of inter-party pettiness. That kind of politics. That kind of politics belonged during the election campaign. I can understand tempers flying during the election campaign, tutu meme, the kind of bickering that we usually see. But with such a large mandate, surely the Congress party, should have the heart to be a little gracious. I mean, this was most certainly not a Congress government deal.
Shiv, I will tell you one thing.
That is Dhruv. I'll come to you, Mohan.
Shiv, yeah, so quickly to come and see, it isn't a Congress government deal or a Bharatiya Janata Party government deal. It's a deal of the government of Karnataka. And the fact that it concluded yesterday, which was under the Congress government, is something that needs to be recognized. Now, second, you have to also take into account that what happened last year during the floods and the monsoons, when Telangana's government lashed out at the Bommai government and clearly went on to state that MNCs are not feeling safe in Karnataka. Those are facts, again, that you cannot dispute. Many companies, in fact, withdrew. And that's where I come back to the Global Investors Summit meet. And I asked the Bharatiya Janata Party as to when they spent so much money in order to organize it, why was it that they were not able to put in even 40% of what they went out to project?
But they've delivered the Foxconn facility. They've delivered a Foxconn facility.
They did not deliver the Foxconn facility. The Foxconn facility was like a gift to the people of Karnataka, because
it was a gift-wrapped project which you guys just completed and concluded, Dhruv. I mean, this is pettiness of an epic proportions. This kind of continuity of business, should be happening without finger pointing, because each government flows into the other. Surely that should be the way it works.
Shiv, there's no finger pointing. I'm again reiterating the fact that
Your party has taken credit for it. Your party has said that it is Rahul Gandhi's employment promises that has resulted in the Foxconn facility. What are the people of Karnataka to understand? You have a social media guy, I forget his name, who's put out a tweet saying Rahul Gandhi's employment promises. That's what this big announcement is all about. He hasn't even named poor Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar. Forget about the BJP.
Shiv, that wasn't an official statement from the Congress party, and I can assure you that wasn't put out from the Congress party's handle. Now, coming to what you said, the deal was materialized under the Congress party, and the fact that 50,000 jobs are being provided is, what I would say, very important to Kannadigas, and politicizing it more and further, what I would say, makes this entire situation nasty. And you have to take into credit what Mr. Priyank Kharge says. He says if the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to take credit for the fact that talks undertook under their place, they are more than welcome to do it. And that is a statement from the ITBT minister himself. And that's what I've been reiterating on the show maybe 3-4 times already.
Just to be completely, absolutely sure, and just to, make it a point here, I don't think the BJP should be taking credit either. Like you rightly said, Dhruv, it's the government of Karnataka using public money of the people of Karnataka to entice such companies, create this infrastructure. If anybody is a winner today, it is the people of Karnataka. It is not the BJP or the Congress. But the reason why it has become political is because your party has decided to take credit in such an explicit manner. That's why we're even having this discussion. If the announcement had been made without any, party politics seeping in, even if it's from someone who you say is not part of the party, who he clearly is, I was looking at his social media handle, then this becomes a separate debate altogether. Mohan, you wanted to come in?
See, Shiv, I'll tell you one thing. See, this has become a trend for the Congress. For whatever we have done, they say they have laid the foundation. Take an example of Bangalore-Mysore Expressway also. It was we who did it. What did they say during opposition? They said they were the one who started it. And you take Bogeyville Bridge also in the Northeast. What did they say? They were the one who started it. Same thing over here also. Let me tell you, nobody is speaking about Make in India initiative over here. Who started Making India? It's Narendra Modi ji under the leadership of, BJP at the central government from past 7 to 8 years. Because of him only, Apple have entered India in 2020. They are manufacturing 2.7 million units. Now they are manufacturing more than 6.7 million units. This selfie taken, through the mobile used by Congress Karyakartas during Bharat Jodo Yatra was manufactured under Make in India by Narendra Modi ji government only. And also the tweets which is made by these Congress people for taking credit, the mobiles which is used there, that was also made and manufactured under Making India initiative only. Let them understand earlier that, they never used to
you're
be
accusing
mobile manufacturing over here.
Okay, Mohan, you're saying that, but there have been instances of different parties taking credit for previous governments as well. I'm sure if I look really hard, I'll find instances of the BJP also doing it. But since we're talking specifically about Foxconn right now, it has become an emotive issue at a time when the elections have just got over. People have sat up and they've taken notice, and they find it
And also,
a little.
there is something called as PLI scheme, production linked incentive scheme. And
Yes.
not only they have invested, they have a certain target to meet, which they have met by achieving a sales. They have a semiconductor plant even in Gujarat also.
Okay.
Come on, they have a plant in Tamil Nadu. They have
When
a
it
plant
comes
in
to,
Telangana.
when it comes to.
Basis that only they have got a deal over here. It's not that because
I'd
of
like to come
Congress
in here,
effort.
please.
No. Congress can never think like this. They can never think of these kind of things. Only BJP can think. See, like as you said, being a Kannadiga, I am also very happy. I congratulate Foxconn. I welcome them to the state of Karnataka. Let the people of Karnataka get the job.
But will you credit the Congress for closing the deal? Dhruv says, whatever be the case, we closed the deal.
Pardon me, can you repeat? Sorry.
Would you credit the Congress for closing the deal? The Congress says MOU, SHMOU is all fine, but it took us to close the deal. Is the submission from Dhruv?
No. Their effort might be hardly 1%. They would have taken pictures with the CEO of, the Foxconn. Apart from that, nothing they have done. It's we who have done.
Okay. Dhruv, last question to you, then we'll wrap up. It brings me back to my first question, which is that this kind of trying to grab credit just 10 days into this brand new government, nobody is going to buy that. Everyone knows how these things work. These are large, complicated, meticulously negotiated deals, where the paperwork would probably fill a small room, if I'm not mistaken. These things don't happen in a few hours or a few days. And therefore, the Congress sort of leaping to take credit for this, sort of displays a lack of grace, if I can put it like that. Yeah, Dhruv, final word to you.
Shiv, I can't help it if the Congress government is more efficient than the Bharatiya Janata Party. The fact that we closed it yesterday shows the efficiency of it. If the Bharatiya Janata Party was unable to close the entire deal in the month of April, that shows the confidence that multinational companies have in the party.
Okay.
And what happened yesterday is nothing but a clear sign of confidence in the people of Karnataka under the Congress government.
Okay, understood.
Because we
Okay,
have a
you're
strong
not
mandate.
going to
Unlike
budge
when in
from that.
2018 they went on to purchase MLAs and had the whole scams of 40% put together.
I think
You can laugh because that is what your party did, and that's why you're limited.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. The mood is still, the tempers of this, this unusually aggressively fought election are still in the air.
Can I come in last 20 seconds?
20 seconds. Only 20 seconds. I'm out of time. Mohan.
Shiv, at least now let the Congress agree that Make in India is working, boycott China is working. The manufacturers of Apple are coming out of, Chinese facilities or from Taiwanese facilities, and they're coming India, they're manufacturing over here. At least let them agree and understand the fact that, the Make in India initiative ruled out by Narendra Modi ji is working, as well as in Karnataka, irrespective of any party in the region.
I'm going to take
that
the
is
last.
the people of India who are working. Why are you putting it under your party's banner? It's
I'm
the
going
people
to-
of
I'm
India.
going to-
It doesn't
okay.
matter which party it is.
I'm going to have the last word, guys. It was a pleasure to have you, but I'm going to have the last word, which is that at the end of the day, in my view, building Karnataka into the kind of state that is attractive to companies like Foxconn doesn't happen in a few weeks, doesn't happen in a few months, doesn't happen in a few years. It takes decades to do. And over the decades, we've had multiple dispensations from different parties in the state of Karnataka that have built this amazing state into a place that is attractive, predictable, and admirable to countries like Foxconn and many others. It doesn't happen in just a few weeks. So should we really be talking about crediting the BJP or crediting the Congress, or the work done by hundreds, if not thousands of politicians, bureaucrats, voters, people in Karnataka over the decades who've basically created a state that is so incredibly attractive to investment? Think about that for just a moment. Congratulations, Karnataka. Congratulations, India. A 300-acre facility near Bengaluru is all set to become India's biggest iPhone manufacturing unit in less than a year. Foxconn, the Taiwanese company that produces a vast number of Apple devices globally, will soon begin building out this factory, making India a significantly bigger player in the Apple hardware ecosystem. The 13,600 crore rupee facility that we've been talking about will generate an amazing 50,000 direct jobs over the next 5 years and trigger many spillover benefits for other industries as well. But the announcement yesterday, as you've just seen, which should have been a bipartisan celebration of Karnataka's infrastructure and friendliness to business, was marred by pettiness and silly taunts, especially on social media. The Congress party, which won a handsome victory in Karnataka a fortnight ago, declared the news through its new ministers, some of whom projected it as the first big victory of the new Congress government. Well, this is understandable given the viciousness of the election campaign, but one would have thought that a major victory would bring with it some grace and perhaps some attention to facts. If one must assign credit for Karnataka's Foxconn win, then factually, wasn't it the Bommai government that sealed the deal in March, April this year, even announcing it? And wasn't it DK Shivakumar, now the state's deputy CM, who strangely attacked the announcement, calling it a lie and a falsehood? But Indian politics is the theatre of the absurd viewer. And one Congress leader went many steps further, hilariously, crediting Rahul Gandhi's employment generation promises for the Foxconn factory in Bengaluru. The BJP, bruised after a humiliating defeat in Karnataka, is of course very angry and incensed at what they see as daylight robbery of credit. But many will ask, would the BJP have not done the same if the sides were actually switched? The netas will bicker, elections will come and go, viewer, but the bottom line is Karnataka has won. Rising above the childish claiming of credit, there are bigger questions to ask and points to note. One, there must be bipartisan continuity when it comes to investment, friendliness and infrastructure development. Two, parties should be careful not to let their silly social media compulsions escalate into red flags for foreign companies who wish for stability and predictability over all things when they look at investing. Three, Karnataka's emergence as an attractive tech hub to companies like Foxconn should be seen as the fruits of multiple dispensations over decades who've carefully pieced together and built up this beautiful state to be attractive to the biggest companies on earth. Foxconn is in the headlines now because the deal comes after a particularly ill-tempered election campaign. But when it comes to business and investment, may the Congress and the BJP compete healthily, but never forget that their aim is precisely the same: a more prosperous Karnataka. We're taking a very quick break here. On the other side of this break, I'm going to introduce you to an amazing Everest rescue hero who saved a climber from the death zone of Everest. His amazing feat captured on video, and I have the privilege of him joining me live as well.
India Today Conclave South 2023, India's biggest ideas fest. Listen to Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister Kerala, Amitabh Kant, Kamal Hassan, Rana Daggubati, P. Chidambaram, P.A. Mohammad Riaz, and many more. Watch live indiatodayconclave.com/south.
A bold experiment in women's empowerment. A self-help group led by the Panchayat head of Dawa village in Bihar's Bhojpur district has set up a plant to manufacture sanitary napkins. They are not only providing sanitary pads at a low cost to women in rural areas, but also creating employment opportunities for women.
ये जो योजना है ये हम लोगों ने बेसिकली उस वक्त शुरू किया जब कोरोना का दौर चल रहा था, तो ये चीज़ समझा गया कि बाहर जो हमारे यहाँ से महिलाएं जा रही हैं उन लोगों को यहाँ रोका जाए और कुछ ना कुछ एक सोर्स ऑफ अर्निंग बनाई जाए। और हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा औरतों को सैनिटरी जो शब्द है उससे परिचित करवाएं और मेंस्ट्रुएशन साइकिल में जो हम सैनिटरी का यूज़ करते हैं उसकी उनको आदत डलवाएं।
The women go door to door selling sanitary napkins. They spread awareness among villagers about menstrual hygiene.
जो बच्ची किशोरियां हैं वो लेना नहीं जानती थी पहले, जिसे उनके माँ बाप यूज नहीं कराते थे उसको, क्योंकि महिलाओं को जानकारी नहीं था। तो इसलिए बच्ची बोलती है तो क्या है, जो आज के डेट में किशोरी बच्ची स्कूल पढ़ रही हैं, इसी की वजह से बाल किशोरी को पता चलता है कि ये पीरियड आने पर सबसे अच्छा महत्वपूर्ण सैनिटरी पैड है।
The unit in Dawa makes 4,000 to 5,000 sanitary pads a day. Their product, branded as Sangini, is available in markets in villages and towns in the district. Bureau Report, India Today.
And so, what are your plans for electric mobility? Because MGL is at the heart of supplying gas, but electric is quite different from a gas-based company. So, but I'm sure you might be looking at an electric vehicle revolution that's literally on the verge of burst and a penetration in India. Could you give us a sense what MGL is doing in electric mobility?
Yeah, I think electric mobility is a very active space. A lot of technologies are being developed, and we see that a lot of penetration is happening in two-wheeler side. Around 80-90% vehicles of electric vehicles are being sold in India is two-wheelers, and more penetration is expected to take forward in three-wheeler segment. So we are watching the space very closely. We are seeing how the competitors are doing, what are the startups, because several startup companies are also working in this sphere. So we are also talking to some of the EV companies to see if something fits in, and we may take some equity partnership in some of these companies or one of these companies to see that we know how the sector is going to unfold. But as far as CNG is concerned, we have on in all India basis around 3 to 4% penetration. And with the recent policy initiative on report, energy transition report was published by Prime Minister Office, it says that any city having more than population of 1 million, they are going to phase out four-wheelers in diesel sphere. So all that segment plus commercial vehicles, again, the penetration of CNG is very low. So we are focusing on the areas where we can find a space. And in my view, kitty is so large that all these fuels can coexist. It is not that if electric vehicle comes, CNG will be totally displaced. Even if the phasing out has to happen, it will be the dirtiest fuel first. Let us say coal, followed by diesel, then petrol, and then CNG and electric vehicles can coexist for a longer period.
And so, what are the capex plans? There were reports of about 600 to 800 crore capex lined up for this year. How do you plan to fund it? Is also land bank monetization on the plans?
No, we have internal generation is more than sufficient to fund the capex plan. Right now, last year we have 790 CR of profit, and we have around 250 crore of depreciation. Plus, we give around 260 crore of dividend last year we have declared. So in cash generation, we have around 700 crore availability, and same is what we are doing to capex plan. The funding for the new acquisition will be done from treasury surplus, which is around 1500 CR. So, the funds are available. I don't think we will be required to take debt as such in this financial year at least.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.
I'm going to advise viewer discretion for this next story because this is heart-stopping stuff. This happens, what you're about to watch, very close to the summit of the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest in Nepal. And this is the story of Gelji, a Nepali Sherpa guide who turned a daredevil rescue hero in what is called the death zone, very close to the summit of Everest, where he spotted someone who was about to die, a climber who was hanging literally and metaphorically by a thread. Here is what Gelji did.
This Nepali Sherpa guide is carrying a Malaysian climber on his back down from a part of Mount Everest called the Death Zone. Gelji Sherpa says he saved the man's life. He was guiding a client to the summit in mid-May. That's when he saw the Malaysian climber clinging to a rope and shivering in the extreme cold. The Death Zone is a part of the mountain where temperatures can drop below -20 degrees Fahrenheit. Rescues are almost impossible there, authorities say. Gelji convinced his client to give up the summit attempt and began his rare high-altitude rescue.
It took me 5 to 6 hours to get from 8,500 meters above sea level to 7,900. It was very difficult. In places where it was rockier, we could not drag him. We had to carry him on our backs with difficulty.
He eventually got help from another guide, and a helicopter then carried the climber down to base camp.
It was important for us to rescue him, even from the summit. Money can be earned any time. Left like that, he could have died. We have saved his life by quitting the summit.
The climber was put on a flight to Malaysia last week. The dramatic rescue comes as Nepal issued a record 478 permits for Everest during this year's climbing season. At least 12 climbers have died, and another 5 are still missing on Everest slopes.
And Gelji Sherpa is our privilege to have with him live with us here on India Today. He's joining us from Nepal. Gelji, आपसे बात करते हुए हम बहुत प्राउड हैं, बहुत गर्व आता है. पहले तो हमारा कंग्रेचुलेशंस कि आपने जो रेस्क्यू किया एवरेस्ट के पीक के सामने, ये बहुत ही बेहतरीन रेस्क्यू था. गेलजे, ये डिटेल में बताइए कि जब आप क्लाइंब कर रहे थे तो आपने क्या देखा और आपने कैसे डिसीजन लिया कि आप ये रेस्क्यू करेंगे?
हिंदी में
हिंदी या इंग्लिश में बोलिए. जी जी जी.
Okay, just when I was like doing the summit with my clients, and I was like on the way to balcony, just I met him like he's unconscious because he was like about to die, and so that's why I need to save his life, and that's why just my summit fund just I quit and I set it down my client down to C4, and just I decided to save his life because save the life is like bigger than the summit. So that's why I decided to save his life.
Gelji, it took you 6 hours, you know, from the time you got that Malaysian climber till you came down about 600 meters. It took you 6 hours. You wrapped him up in a, you know, in a heat blanket. How difficult was it to carry him on your back and climb down for 600 meters?
No, it's like from balcony. I did not wrap there because when I wrap him, he's from after the camp 4, after South Pole. Before when I met him, I did not wrap him because I don't have nothing to like for wrap. Balcony is above the 8,000 meter, like 8,400 meters. So that's where we can't find that kind of gear. Just when I met him, I bring down like how's his condition. I bring just like that. He was like about to die, but he was like to temperature support. He oxygen was like he was shaking. So that's why I carry down to him like with the rocky part and no possible to drag him down. So that's where I carry down to him like 3-4 hours, and 3-4 hours, like 3 hours something. I drag him to down on the snow, on the rods we carry back.
Gelje, was this not a risk to you as well? You know, you are a very well-trained mountaineer and Sherpa. Did you think that you might also be risking your life by doing something like this?
Yeah, I have also like risked on my life also. So I know like how to do the rescue because I have like well training and I did like many time I spent for the training. So that's why I have experience and I have a knowledge about rescue. So that's why it'll be easier for me. But still, like about the 8,000 meter, we call the death zone. That's the very hard to do like rescue on the rocky parts. And like on the snow part is okay, just we can drag him down. But on the rocky part is very hard to bring down, and we need to like manage oxygen. Like we have to like save the oxygen also and save the person also. And I need to carry like oxygen also for him. In case if finish oxygen, I need to change to him, and I need to bring down him like on my own. Like no one like helping that time was. Like in the night time, I try to like contact other people, like other rescuer team also, but in the midnight, like very hard to like connect with the team. So this is like very hard situation to like rescue down. This is quite dangerous for the rescuer and for the like passion also.
What was going through your mind, Gelji? What was going through your mind when you were carrying that Malaysian climber on your back? What were you thinking in your mind? Did you think you might not make it? Tell us about what was on your mind.
No, if we have like oxygen, we can do it. Like how to bring down, like how to give, like how many oxygen, like we're using for the like for that Malaysian climber, because I have like enough oxygen. So that's why I'm more confident, and I have also oxygen. I'm also using oxygen there, and that's why I carry on back because I need I thinking in my mind I need to save him down.
Yeah.
So I think only on that, because like mostly like Sherpa and Buddhist people is like just they're helping mostly for the like who have a like problem, like who have a like that kind of situations. So that's why I need to help to him. So in Buddhist culture, like I'm the Buddhist religion, so that's why in Buddhist religion is like bigger than doing like praying at the monastery, like someone like save someone's life. That's the big things for in our religion. So that's where I'm thinking this one I like believe with my God.
It's incredible. It's incredible to hear that, Gail J. One final question, because people are talking about you all over the world. You're being called the Super Sherpa. You know, something like this is very difficult, rescuing someone from the so-called death zone of Everest. I can only imagine what your fitness must be like. What do you do for fitness? Apart from climbing mountains and climbing Everest, what is your fitness secret?
Oh, I don't have that kind of like secret things, but just I doing when I was like Kathmandu. I do just some exercise and running. Like we have to like many like energy things. We need to eat like some energy food or like whatever we can get. Mostly like local things we using, not like chemical things. And second things, I need to do like exercise like every day when I was like in Kathmandu. Even though I'm not climbing, I'm going like wall climbing, like sometimes like rock climbing. I'm going just for the running like every day.
Good to hear about it. You're an inspiration to millions of people who've watched this story here in India and certainly around the world. Congratulations once again, Gail J. Thank you for the amazing work you do. Stay safe on your next mission as well. And we'll all be looking out for your next big adventure. Gail J, thank you very much for speaking to India.
Okay, you're most welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And coming up next, some of us climb, some of us fall. Well, we've shown you Gail J Sherpa in Nepal, but the US President took a tumble at the US Air Force Academy. Well, why has it become a talking point, and should it be one? We'll tell you next.
Even as the electric two-wheeler market was getting charged to its full potential, people are questioning whether the government has prematurely pulled the plug. Companies like Ola, Ather, TVS and Matter have increased prices of their e-scooter models after the central government trimmed its subsidies. Ola has increased the prices of its base S1 Air model to 1 lakh rupees and on the S1 model to 1.3 lakh rupees. The top-end Pro model will now cost 1.4 lakh rupees ex-showroom. The Ather 450X has seen a price hike of a massive 32,500 rupees. Prices of the TVS iQube are up by 17 to 22,000 rupees. While prices of Bajaj Chetak have shot up to 22,000 rupees. The price hike follows a crucial decision by the government to cut subsidies under its faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles, or FAME-2 scheme. Under the revised norms, subsidies will be capped at 15% of the ex-factory price of the vehicle against 40% earlier. For the Ola S1, this means that the subsidy amount has been cut from 44,700 to 20,678 rupees. On the more expensive S1 Pro, the subsidy is down to 22,268 rupees from 59,550 rupees.
I mean, these are very nominal price increases that we have taken. I think single digit perhaps in terms of percentage. Right. So these are normal course of business is how I'd classify them. Right. We have product lineups coming at various price points. So we have our own pricing and product strategy, which obviously cannot be disclosed in the public. So we are very strategic in the way we take our calls on price and product. So you will you have to see this play out over the next 6 months.
E-scooters were already considered costlier than their traditional ICE counterparts. The only big advantage are the massively low running costs. While the industry remains bullish and insists that the price hikes will not keep customers away and dent sales, analysts believe otherwise. The market has taken off in the past few months. With Sales of e-scooters zooming 66% between January and April this year in comparison to last year. Sales of electric cars have risen a whopping 127% in the same period, although on a much lower base.
This was under the FAME 2 subsidy scheme, and this was for about 5 years. However, many companies came up with frauds and started cutting corners of their vehicle claims. They even made false claims of localization. The government has caught on to it and decided to reduce the scheme. Though the quantum of the scheme remains the same, they've just reduced it per unit to facilitate support for larger number of vehicles. This is Rachna Dhanrajani for Business Today Television.
US President Joe Biden is tumbling and stumbling again. He's okay, he's not injured, but this time at an Air Force Academy in the United States inauguration ceremony, Biden took a fall. He claims he's okay, but this isn't the first time. The US President has been infamous for falling down stairs, falling off his bicycle, and now falling from a stage as well. Take a look at why it's become a big political talking point in the United States.
He came.
It's our Constitution. It's our country.
He spoke. He fell. Fortunately, Joe Biden isn't hurt, but it is the latest stumble for America's oldest president. The minor mishap took place right after Biden handed out diplomas at the US Air Force Academy commencement in Colorado. The 80-year-old president, who is running for a second term, has once again attracted vital attention from the man he ousted from the White House.
He's at the Air Force Academy. He actually fell down. Well, I hope he wasn't hurt. I hope he wasn't hurt. But it's the whole thing is, look, the whole thing is crazy. You got to be careful about that. You got to be careful about that because you don't want that. Even if you have to tiptoe down a ramp, you got to tiptoe.
A politician falling shouldn't be the subject matter of viciousness or political ridicule. But those looking to oust Biden from the White House aren't missing an opportunity to kick the president while he's down, including the man seen to be a front-runner for the Republican ticket.
He did see, I think a lot of people saw, he had a fall at this Air Force event. And, you know, I don't know if he sustained injuries, but I just want to say that we hope and wish Joe Biden a swift recovery from any injuries he may have sustained. But we also wish the United States of America a swift recovery from the injuries it has sustained because of Joe Biden and his policies.
But Biden's reputation for being infirm hasn't been helped by the fact that he's taken repeated tumbles during his presidency. He famously fell off his bike in Delaware last year.
Hey now!
While this video of Biden stumbling repeatedly while climbing aboard Air Force One has acquired a life of its own as a meme, despite his advancing years and propensity for falling, the president's doctors give him a clean bill of health. As US elections approach, Biden's every move will come under even more unforgiving scrutiny. During the Memorial Day salute last month, President Biden's brief yawn became a big talking point, giving his detractors even more ammo to denounce him as unfit to rerun as president. But Biden is also seen as a war horse, frequently owing barbs about his age with humor.
When I was graduating from high school 300 years ago, I applied to the Naval Academy.
The United States goes to the election at the end of next year. Expect every move, every speech, every fall to be thrust under the most unforgiving microscope. Bureau Report, India Today.
funding winter is taking a heavy toll on Indian startups. Sakshi?
Well, that's right. It's another day, another write-down, and valuation cuts continue to plague unicorn startups in India. Now, we've seen in the recent weeks that many marquee investors have been slashing valuations of a number of new age technology companies, including Byju's, Ola, and even Swiggy. In fact, it's Byju's which has faced a reduction in valuations by BlackRock, the global leader in asset management, for the second time this year. In fact, BlackRock, which owns less than 1% in Byju's, has now valued the firm at $8.2 billion. That is 62.7% lower than the $22 billion valuation that the company was ascribed to in October of 2022. Now, this markdown comes right after February, when BlackRock had slashed the valuation of Byju's to about $11 billion. Now, apart from this, US-based investor Fidelity Investments has also cut the fair value of its holding in e-commerce firm Meesho by around 10% to around $4.4 billion. Now, it had originally led a Series F round in the startup at a valuation of $4.9 billion. Now, remember that valuation is a mix of fundamentals, potential, and market sentiment, and the current market sentiment is driven by high interest rates and has increased the cost of capital and has also forced startups to focus more on profitability rather than growth. Now, in the absence of profits and the external validations of valuations through funding rounds, accounting standards and investor risk frameworks definitely demand markdowns of valuations. Experts, however, believe that although markdowns do not directly impact the companies, they may still have unfavorable implications for the future funding rounds of these companies and even the IPO plans of these firms going forward.
Pranav Salkar saw his mother struggle to get water after coming back from work every day. The nearest source of water was half a kilometer away. Pained by this sight, the 14-year-old took matters into his own hands. He started digging a well, and in 4 days, he struck gold.
त्याला मी एक सूचना दिली होती, काही ते खून कण थोडंसं पाणी लागतो का आपण बघूया. नंतर आम्ही मग कामावर जायची सुरुवात केली.